So can you imagine making $34,000 in 3 months with permanent jewelry? Well, that's exactly what Christine has done. This interview to me is very special, Christine, because you are also our first interview here from New Zealand. And so can you tell us a little bit about, what part of New Zealand you're from and a little bit about your business?
So I'm in the South Island of New Zealand in a city called Christchurch, and I am a lash artist. No, and I have a lash business and a beauty business. My sister-in-law is the beauty therapist, and I do lash extensions here.
Awesome. So now that you're making, a good amount of money with permanent jewelry, do you still do as many lashes, or where do you see your business in like 6 months to a year with that?
When I started doing permanent jewelry, I was a little bit unsure on how that was going to go. So my focus was still on lashes, and I'm now 12 weeks in, so 3 months, and I have switched my mindset and my focus into permanent jewelry, as I see that is definitely where the money is to be made.
Yeah, because I was talking to another lash artist last week, and she was talking about how, in 2 hours she would make, maybe 150 bucks with lashes, but she can make the same money in like 10 minutes with permanent jewelry.
Yeah, definitely. I can't believe I've probably tripled my income per week. Um, yeah, so that's just amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, how many bracelets or pieces of permanent jewelry have you done in the past 3 months?
I've done over 500 bracelets, anklets, so pieces in that 3 months.
Wow. So I do get a lot of other lash artists or salon owners that ask me, Jake, is it better to take appointments? How can I add this to my business? And so, what have you found worked best for you?
In the first few weeks, I was actually controlling the appointments. I did a TikTok video that went viral, so I had a lot of people just messaging me.
Mhm.
And at that point, my lash clients were important, and they still are really important. And I didn't want them to miss out on appointments with me, so I was controlling those appointments by just scheduling them into my software itself. When things had settled down, I use a software here in New Zealand called Timely, and so people can now book online. And yeah, I find that just works really well for me.
Awesome. So do you find you get more just direct bookings for permanent jewelry, or do you get, maybe previous lash clients or people who are getting their lashes and they're like, oh, what's that? Or, how does that work for you?
I'm getting new people booking the permanent jewelry and then seeing that I do lashes and then wanting to book appointments with me for lashes. But there's definitely it's a different target market that I'm reaching, and the people that are booking are coming back. I've had a few people come back 3 or 4 times for bracelets. They've brought different people. So yeah, it is a completely different target market.
Awesome. So, you said you had a TikTok video go viral. What was the content of that video?
So there is a influencer in Australia called Anna Paul, and she's an OnlyFans person, and she went along and got a permanent bracelet. And I did a stitch, which is where you take a piece of someone else's video and then you add a little bit onto it. And because my target market are 18 to 24-year-olds, they follow Anna Paul. They saw the video because it came up on their page because of her. Um, Everybody that I messaged or messaged me, they had been looking for permanent jewelry in New Zealand and hadn't found
Mhm.
anywhere. So they were really excited to see that I'd launched it here in Christchurch.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's smart. You're kind of playing off of somebody else that's already famous and finding their followers. And so I really like that idea. So when you say viral, how many likes or views or, what were the metrics behind that video?
It's had 307,000 views,
Nice.
and I can't remember how many likes, but yeah, it's great.
So when you first started permanent jewelry, how were you marketing your business? Was it to previous clients, your existing audience? How did you do that?
I started up a completely new TikTok page and a completely new Instagram and Facebook page because I wanted it to have its own brand.
Hmm.
So I just started it up and I shared it on my Lash business page, got a few followers through that, but definitely the viral TikTok, yeah, increased my audience. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I know I can already hear the questions coming in, like what's the TikTok profile? And so if you could let us know what that is, like everybody can go look up the video.
It's Infinity Jewelry NZ.
Okay, perfect. And I'll put that in the description below as well. So we were kind of talking before we started recording about marketing. You mentioned some things about that's included with linked marketing. Can you kind of explain on that?
Um, One of the reasons why I went with linked was because there were so many YouTube videos that I could go back and watch, just giving me information about the training. And then the other thing I really liked within the training, the all the images that were supplied, the marketing, the wording, that just took a lot of the how do I market it out of the equation. And because I hadn't started the business, I didn't have images of people with bracelets on. So all those images were really good just to put on my social media platforms so people could see what permanent jewelry is.
Yeah, and then when me and Sarah, started the company, I was like, that's so important to me is to make sure that not only do they know how to do a great service, but they also can market it very easily. And so that's why we give you guys the pre-made wording, the pre-made post, the graphics, the videos, and all that. And then of course you can make your own videos like you did with TikTok. And so that's pretty cool to have a mixture of both. It's funny that you mentioned you saw us on YouTube. Did you ever think like, oh, I'm going to be on YouTube or I'm going to be on his YouTube channel one day?
No, definitely not.
That's it's funny how that works. So good to
Yeah.
have you.
Good to be
So
here.
let's talk numbers because everybody loves numbers. So you said you started about 3 months ago and you've made about 34,000. Is that pretty equal amongst each month, or did it kind of ramp up, or how's the income been since then?
To start off with, it was I was doing, yeah, sort of 3.5 to sort of 3,800 a week for a few weeks. And now it's sort of like it's evening around sort of 2,500 a week. Um, and it also depends on if I keep marketing. If
Mhm.
I decide, okay, I want to have a slower week, I don't do as much marketing, and I don't get those bookings coming in.
Yep.
Um, I ask my people that come in if they want to share on TikTok that or Instagram that they've had the bracelets and they want to tag me. Then that's how I tend to get more followers and then more
Mhm.
bookings. Yeah, so I just yeah I can control how much income that I make by how much I put myself out there.
Yeah, and the advice I would give you, or just, I mean, obviously it's your business, do whatever you want. But if I were in your shoes, and I would tell anybody that was also in your same situation, because there's a lot of people who, like you, are probably like one of the first people in their area to do this, just because it's such a new thing. So if you're in that situation, I highly recommend running ads and getting in front of as many people as possible, getting all the attention and all the connections quickly, because it's a lot easier to get attention for something when it's newer in an area versus something that multiple people are already doing it. So anyone in her shoes right now, I would highly recommend running ads and really promoting this as much as you can to really it's kind of like the California gold rush, or it just people are going to rush to do this right now, and I think that whoever gets in early is going to be making a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
With that being said, have you been running ads, or relying on word of mouth? What's your marketing strategy?
I have been. I've run one ad, a Facebook ad, and that was to drive traffic to my website because I created a new website and I called it permanentjewelry.co.nz. Just through, actually, it was my husband's idea because he had been searching permanent jewelry, um, thinking that I was going to pop up, and I wasn't popping up on my Lash business site. I created a page but it just wasn't being seen. So I got a new domain name and called it permanentjewelry.co.nz. So I did a Facebook ad directing people to that to get some traffic there to
Hmm.
try and increase my SEO. And yeah, that worked. I don't remember the actual numbers, but I had quite a few hits with people going to actually the website.
Nice. And so if you have a lot of search traffic, which I'm sure you do, it sounds like, I would also consider Google Ads, because Google Ads means that when somebody searches you on Google, your website's going to pop up at the top.
Okay, that's a good idea. Thank you.
The other thing I would, the other advice I would give you and anybody watching or listening to this is, like, when you do create your website, make sure you have a Facebook pixel on there, because that Facebook pixel is going to track those website visitors. And then whether you do it now or later, you're going to have that data where you can retarget website visitors. So like, let's say somebody, Googles you and they go to your website. Well, now you can hit them with an Instagram ad or hit them with the Facebook post. And so Facebook pixels are very important for that.
Okay. Oh, great. Thank you. I'll look into that.
Awesome. Well, that was a couple marketing tips we've never shared on the podcast before, and so I'm glad I could help people out with that. I bet everybody's like taking notes real quick. Um, cool. So, anything that you would want, let's say somebody's watching and they're like, I'm scared to do permanent jewelry. I don't know if I'll make any money. Like, what advice would you give to them?
Just do it. I thought about it for probably a month, weighing the pros and the cons. My biggest holdback in that month was the affordability, how I was going to afford it. I was originally looking at the Orion machine and just thinking, oh, that was just too much money to invest in something that I didn't know how popular it was going to be, how it was going to work. I could see in America it was really taking off, and I
Mhm.
wanted to bring it here. So I decided to go with the other machine, and I took the money out of my tax account and thought, I've got to just gamble it. I've just got to try it. I gave myself 2 months to pay that money back into my tax account before my tax was due. And I managed to pay it back in 2 weeks. So, yeah, if you're thinking about doing permanent jewelry, just do it. Yeah, you won't regret it at all.
Awesome. So yeah, you have the deluxe machine. That's the one that's a little bit more affordable. And
Yes.
the Orion, which is made by Sunstone, is a great machine. I'm actually good friends with their CEO, and like, we have a great relationship with Sunstone. But even what I talk to him about, and when I tell our students is, if you can't afford the Orion up front, or like you said, you don't know how successful your business is going to be, it might not be smart to buy the most expensive machine out there. Maybe you need to, based on your budget or your situation, go with the deluxe machine, which is fine. And like you said, you've done over 500 bracelets. And how many issues have you had with the deluxe machine?
I've never had an issue with it. I didn't know that you could have issues with it. Um, yeah, as I can't compare it to the Orion. Like, if the Orion is easier to use, I don't know. I could have done 1,000 bracelets in that time. I don't know, but no, I've had no issues with it at all.
Yeah.
And your team has been amazing. Like, I did have an issue getting it into the country. Just that was just New Zealand customs, but
Mhm.
your team they just went above and beyond to help me. So yeah, no, if you're thinking about training with anyone, Linked is the place to go.
Yeah, and you were even asking me, I think last week, you were like, Jake, should I upgrade to the Orion? And I said, well, what do you like? What do you, I said, what is your monthly revenue? And the reason I asked that question is, some people feel pressured to upgrade too quickly when they're not making any money. And that's usually a pressure driven by Facebook groups, or, people who have a vested interest in just making commissions off certain machines. But that's why I always say, like, what is your specific situation? And when you told me you had made $30,000 the past 10 weeks, I was like, yes, go ahead, and you're going to need tax write-offs. It's always good to have a second machine. And, now you can afford to go with the Orion. So definitely do it. And so that's always my thought process when I'm thinking about, like, I don't think there's one answer fits all. I just, that's the decision matrix I use with our students.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a few questions that I'm always getting every day, and so I love to always ask these and hear it from each individual. So, did you have any experience welding before this?
None at all. Nothing.
Alrighty. Do you use argon?
No, I don't.
Okay, and then since like some people out there claim that if you don't use argon, all your welds will break. Have you had any welds break?
I've had a few. Percentage wise, I've probably had, I don't know, 2%, but that's probably more me not welding it properly, not having it meshed together properly, and having a proper weld. But yeah, that I take that on myself. That's my fault.
Yeah, that's still a really good percentage, like 2%. All right. So, because you never know when somebody actually just like snags or like they like one time I was going down to do a push up and I almost broke or I did break one of mine. And so it just you never know what people are doing with them. All right. So what is your most popular metal material? Is it gold, silver, gold filled? What are you seeing the most popular?
To be honest, it's 50-50. I did a poll on my Instagram and that came out exactly 50-50. I keep quite a tight inventory of all the chain that I order and sell just so I can replenish the most popular chains.
Mhm.
And honestly, it is so close. It is 50-50.
Between what two things?
A gold filled and silver.
Okay. So you don't sell much 14 karat gold?
No, I don't sell any at all.
Okay. That's actually a common and it's weird because when we first started this business, I thought more people would want 14 karat gold, but it really hasn't been. Like most people are just like, sterling silver and gold filled, that's the most popular. Why do you think that is?
I think it's, or for my customers, it's price point. My target market is the 18 to 28-year-old people, oh, girls, males, and they haven't got the money to buy solid gold. So gold filled or silver is more of an affordable option for them, and yeah, they seem to like it.
Awesome. Another question I always get is how long did it take you to really pick it up once you had the machine in your hands and you were practicing? Like, was it a day, a week, a month?
I practiced for one afternoon. I've got a 21-year-old daughter, so I got
Mhm.
her into the room and I said, right, okay, I'm going to try this. And I welded a bracelet on, and I thought, right, I can do this. I think because I do lash extensions, that small, intricate, fine work and good eyesight I do have. So I found it fairly easy. What really did annoy me was my daughter put one on me and she zapped it and welded it first go.
Nice.
But after an afternoon, I was like, right, okay, I'm just going to jump in and I'm just going to start taking appointments. I think a lot of it is confidence as well. If you come across being confident and not to the customer, like come across, you fake it until you make it.
Yeah.
That you know what you're doing, that helps as well. So no, I just did an afternoon of practice.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned confidence because that's so true because people can pick up your energy vibes and I was a pilot for 9 years and we always had a funny joke slash it was the truth like no matter what's happening even if your engine is on fire always sound cool on the radio. Like don't sound like you're panicking and don't sound like you're scared. Like you always got to sound cool on the radio. So
Yes,
same thing when
definitely.
you're with a client, you got to sound cool. You got to look cool, you got to be cool. Awesome. Well, I'm so happy for you, 34,000 in 3 months. That's amazing from permanent jewelry. I'm glad to see you taking the New Zealand market by storm. Is if there's I guess my last question is, if there's one thing you wish you had known when you started and you could go back and you think that would have helped you at all, what would that be?
Um, Probably to have more chain when I started. I relied on what came up in the startup kit, and just a little bit more. Just I think I ordered another 10 feet, but I ran out of that so quickly. So yeah, and also in the beginning I wasn't keeping track of what I was selling, so I wasn't sure what was my most popular. I ran out of silver for a couple of weeks, which was really frustrating for my
Mhm.
clients. They were all very cool about it though. Like I had to keep putting people off, and eventually manage to catch up. So yeah, just make sure that you order plenty of chain, because yeah, you will get busy and it will fly at the door very quickly.
Yep, 100%. Great. Well, thank you for coming on here and sharing your, experience, your advice, and sharing those tips with everyone. If you're watching or listening to this and you found this helpful, please leave a comment below, hit the like button, and then if you're on the podcast, please leave me a review. I love to get some more podcast reviews on here. So, all right, Christine, thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
All right, bye.